Hey, we out here for y'all. Where you coming from?
Sir?
So we out here for y'all. Where y'all coming from?
Y'all here for us?
Sir.
Oh, we coming from Hurst.
From Hurst? What y'all got planned for today?
Nothing much, man. We were just out here just doing a little sightseeing.
All praises. Most y'all got a little minute for the word of God?
Always.
All praises. I'm gonna show you this real quick. I want you to answer that question for me at the top right there. Everybody get a turn.
Wow, they got the right one today.
What we know about that?
Oh, I trust me. I've dealt with Israelites. In Houston, I studied with some in Baton Rouge. That's where I'm originally from.
All praises. I hear the Louisiana in there. You know what I'm saying?
From Baton Rouge, but yeah.
All praises. How long you been out this way?
A couple years now.
That's what's up. I'm about to head back to Seattle myself. But you agree with the doctrine, or you got a take on it?
Oh, I agree with the doctrine. Yeah. I actually was trying to find an Israelite group out here. Like I be wearing shirts with the fringes and all that. Yeah.
All praises, all praises. Yeah, man, that's what we're trying to spread, because the gospel, you know, a lot of times we believe that it's just gonna come with believing in Christ, right? Or just believing in God. But when we crack up in the book of James, he said even the demons know there's one God and they tremble. But wilt thou know, oh man, that faith without works is dead. So, you know, maybe the Most High sent you by here so that you could click up with us. Our information on the back there. This is my brother Yeshaya right here. He's going to be my first in command when I leave. And so he's going to be a good brother for you to link with. But we got a study group. Tomorrow we're going to be studying in the morning time. So if you hit that information, we'll tap you in. And we're going to be going into Paul going into to talk to these other nations and what Paul that means.
Okay. Because a lot of people think that when Paul went into other nations, he was actually speaking to everybody.
That's right.
But he was actually searching out Israelites within those different areas.
Yeah. Because as great as we like to make Paul, right, and we love our beloved brother Paul, but how great could he be if he was going to transgress the command of Christ that said, only go to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And so people, it's like a cognitive dissonance, right? The logic don't match up with what's actually being read. And so we're gonna be going into that, how to prove just according to the context of the documents.
Yeah, you know, a lot of people today don't even look at the house of Israel as the chosen. Now it's more or less you think it, and Lord, you know, I guess I'm saved because I say I'm saved.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
And that's cold. Here's one of my favorite ones. Get Zechariah chapter 8 real quick. I appreciate it. And these was yours. Zechariah chapter 8, the last two chapters. Oh, thank you very much. Last two verses in Zechariah chapter 8. So I like to pose this question to people. If everybody's just Israel, right, what does this mean? This is a prophecy about us being saved, about all the lands where we're captive, just like here, and being put back in our land, and what the response from the Gentiles is going to be.
Question for you. Yeah. Where is our land?
In Jerusalem. In Israel, from the Tigris to the Euphrates.
This is where I disagree with the Israelites. I disagree with the Israelites as far as where our homeland is.
Where do you think it is?
Here. I believe that this is Israel. I believe that this is Israel. This is Egypt. I believe that this land is Egypt and Israel. Because if you look into the actual history of it, you look at Egypt. Egypt was called Kemet before that. If that was the name, then Kemet would be in the Bible. Okay. You wouldn't say Egypt.
Let me ask you this.
You know what I'm saying? Egypt wasn't established until like 1953 as a country.
Okay, I'll follow your logic. Where would you say most Israelites are captive?
Here.
Here? Okay. Let me get Luke chapter 21 and 24. Yeah, Luke 21 and 24. So most Israelites are captive here, and I agree with you on that part right there. Okay. So here's a prophecy.
And they shall fall away by the edge of the sword and shall be led away captive.
It says we're gonna be led away captive. Where they at when this is being prophesied?
Where are they at?
Yeah, where this is being prophesied. This is Christ saying y'all gonna be led away captive. Right? Where is that? Where is he at when this is taking place?
Well, I mean, led away could be mentally. Led away could be mentally as well, but you know, it don't mean that it's physical. But understanding where the place is, period. Like we say, this was happening in Israel. We thinking that Israel, the land of Israel. That's why the war is going on now. The Palestinians know that that's not Israel.
Why are they fighting over it then?
Because we, America and Europe, took people who were from another area and migrated them there in the early 1940s. So those people know that that's not their land.
Whose land is it?
Palestinians.
It's the Palestinians.
Right.
Why are the Philistines so far away from where the Israelites live at? If we lived amongst the Philistines.
No, that was here. The Philistines was here in America.
So the Philistines got moved from America.
No. Migrated them there in the early 1940s. So those people know that that's not their land.
Whose land is it?
Palestinians.
It's the Palestinians.
Right.
Why are the Philistines so far away from where the Israelites live at? If we lived amongst the Philistines.
No, that was here. The Philistines was here in America.
So the Philistines got moved from America.
No.
Because that's what would have to happen in order for that to match up, right? Remember, when we went into the land of Canaan, who did we fight? We fought the Canaanites and we fought the Philistines.
Right.
When you look at the Philistines, they're an Egyptian offshoot.
Right.
So they had to be nearby Egypt. They were an expansion because Egypt was taking over those territories. And so that was a place where they had major military might.
Egypt, when was that? What time frame was that when you're saying Egypt was taking over?
Back before we then took over that land.
So it wouldn't be Egypt, it would be Kemet.
Well, Kemet just means land of the black, so it would expand beyond just Egypt. So the word Kim, that's where we get Ham from, like Ham, Shem, and Japheth.
Exactly.
So that whole region up there would be Kemet, not just Egypt.
That would be Hamland.
And it would be Mitzrayim, not Kemet.
It would
Kemet's
be
too broad.
Not Shem though, right?
Right. But Kim would be too broad. You know what I'm saying? If we're just talking about Egypt, it would be too broad because you had the Nubians, they were Kemites as well. So we gotta be very careful about those terms. What we do know is that we were slaves in Mitzrayim, and those Mitzrayimites, those Egyptians, we know that they inhabited that land over there that we're talking about right now, where the Philistines put up homes nearby. So we was warned against the Canaanites and the Philistines when we moved into our land, right?
So everything you're saying is that what you're talking about happened after Moses, right?
I'm talking about before Moses.
Before Moses.
So the Philistines, they set up that land. They left Egypt. They set up that land before Moses.
Okay.
Right, because they were a major conquering force.
Right.
And the only real opposition that they had during that time, to the best of my knowledge, was just the north and the south of Egypt. You had upper and lower Egypt.
So what I'm saying is, America is, in so many words, separated by the Mississippi River.
Okay.
The east side of America would be more or less Egypt, and the western side would be more or less Israel. Because we know in the Bible they say that there's 7 rivers that come from the Nile River, right? The only river that we know that's a major river that have 7 rivers coming from is the Mississippi. The actual Nile River only have 4 rivers coming from. If you actually go through and look through everywhere that Moses say that he went, from Mount Sinai, from Mount Pisgah to Mount, well, everywhere Moses went, all of those places are actually in Utah.
I've heard this before. So let's not get too far then, because we're gonna deal with more prophecy as well. But I want to know, as far as the Philistines go, because the Philistines we can establish, and if you want to Google for yourself just to see that I'm not lying, that the Philistines are an Egyptian offshoot. What part of America did they inhabit? Those people that are Philistines today in the Middle East, what part of America did they inhabit before we took this land over?
Well, we know that the Philistines were supposed to be like a bigger race of people, right? So we know that they've been discovering all kind of mummies and stuff in the Americas, from Indiana through Illinois, all the way to the Grand Canyon, where we're finding bodies of people that were 8 feet, 9 feet tall and stuff.
But the Philistines weren't said to be giant like that. Goliath was said to be giant like that for sure, but we're not seeing that it was inherently a thing amongst them.
I just know he was the biggest. Are you saying about the amount of people or about the size of stature?
By the amount of people.
I was talking about stature.
Okay, I'm talking about the amount of people.
All right, but I was talking about stature.
So we're talking about the Philistines being a small settlement in that area, to where we can look and we can see what they look like. We know that they black people. We know that they had temples set up over there that the Israelites ended up inheriting later. You can look up the temple, the false temple in Lachish, right? So we know that the Philistines was there. We know that they served Egyptian gods or Mitzrayimite gods. So this tells us that in that locale, we have proof of the people that we're talking about.
Right.
So the question is, when we become introduced to them and we start to fight against them, why is the evidence of it all over there and not here?
Well, because we migrated over there. See, us, the original Negros.
Migrated to the Middle East.
I'm talking about not Negros.
Okay.
We were the original Indians who were here on this land. We migrated. We are the first people who were the Moors who started traveling off to the other lands. So when we actually went into Mesopotamia to try to teach them what we knew here, that's how we got over there. We started moving over that way. They didn't come this way. Or we're not Negroes coming from Africa coming to America. We were Negroes in America going to Africa. Okay.
But you believe the motherland is in Africa?
No, this is the motherland.
So America's the motherland. Okay. So now we're gonna deal with some prophecy. Because I know you want to stand on that, and I don't want to try to shake you off of it too much. Now we want to talk about prophecy, right? Because you don't have to shake nobody off of their square. Prophecy will do it for us, right?
Okay.
So let's go back to Luke 21 and 24. It said that we was going to be led away captive out of the mouth of Christ, right? Being led away captive is talking about something physically that was going to happen.
We don't know that.
Watch this.
Help me understand.
Watch this. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and they shall be led away captive into all nations.
Led away captive into all nations, meaning even if you're talking about something verbally saying go be captive, or go follow those gods, and we choose to obey, it's saying that we're going to be removed to other lands.
So with what you're saying, it seems like you're saying we were in Africa and we were removed from Africa and put into other lands. What I'm saying is Negroes didn't come from Africa. That's what I'm saying.
You're saying that. Right. Prophecy is saying that we was going to be led away captive from the land that we was at, which is established as Israel in the text. So if we're led away,
I'm saying Israel is a different place.
I know, but I'm saying it don't hold up, right? Because if we're being led away from Israel, how are we then led back to Israel? Watch this. This is the nail in the coffin.
And Jerusalem shall be trodden down.
Jerusalem shall be trodden down, but by who is the question?
Of the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled.
So it says that Gentiles was going to be in our land until the time of the Gentiles was fulfilled, meaning we wasn't going to possess it. But you said most Israelites are here. But the prophecy says we're supposed to be led away from this land until the time of the Gentiles is fulfilled.
Right.
So what we're looking at is, if we look over in the Middle East, so-called, and we look at Israel, we can see a bunch of Gentiles is over there and we not. When we look here, we both agree that this is the main land of our captivity. Prophecy says we would be in a place called the land of the north until our captivity was fulfilled, and then we'd be led out of there. You familiar with that prophecy?
Yeah.
Okay, so where's the rest of us at?
This is North America. We're everywhere.
But it says we're supposed to be led out of the land of the north to Israel. So how are we going to be led out of America to America?
So we were led, like I said, Egypt was the eastern portion of Mississippi, and Israel is the western portion. So we're led from the eastern to the western, and that's leading us out. You get me? And that's why Moses ended up in Utah, because the travel was from east to west.
Okay. So according to prophecy, when the last land of our captivity is destroyed, are you under the impression that only half of America is going to be destroyed?
I don't know about what's going to be destroyed, but I know what's going to come back.
So it says that.
I know the 12 tribes will be 12 gates for the 12 tribes.
Right,
and that's the only people that's getting in.
But you're familiar with Babylon the Great, right?
Right.
That's the other name for the land of the north. So this would have to be Babylon the Great if most of the Israelites are captive.
Yeah, I consider New York pretty much the head of Babylon the Great.
But the land of the north, Babylon the Great, is supposed to be destroyed. It says that nobody's going to be able to live here, no wild beasts, nothing. It says it's going to be inhabited by unclean beasts and the creeping, crawling things of the earth. So how are we going to settle here when nobody's able to live here?
Well, it could be the east and the west. I'm not sure of that. But what I can say, it could be the east, where it would be, like you're saying, where nobody be able to live in the west, where we're really supposed to be, like where the Grand Canyon is and all of that. That's why all the people in Utah right now, they hide the information. So the Mormons and the who's the other ones that's there? The Scientologists. All of them in Utah. You get what I'm saying? There's a reason for that.
Very interesting. Let's get real quick. Let's get Genesis 49 real quick. I wish I had my sign with me, but it gives us the geographical locations that we would be captive at in Genesis 49. And then when you look at Revelation chapter 7, it tells us the order in which we're going to be saved. And it gives us the order all the way from North all the way to South America.
So question. So you telling me you really think that Negroes started in Africa and there's less Negroes in Africa than it is in America today?
I don't believe that, what you just said, that there's less Negroes in Africa than there is in America. And then the term Negro that I would look at is just, it just means black.
No,
so you're dealing with, for sure.
Understand this. It's a difference between a Negro and an African. Understand that.
There are, but
scientifically proven, it's a difference.
What's the science?
We are not the same. For one, they can't even grow beards.
Okay.
They genetically, they just can't.
Okay.
It's the difference between a Negro and an African. Any African know that.
Okay. So you're talking about a colloquialism. You're not talking about the literal word Negro.
I'm talking about scientifically proven that a Negro and an African is two different things.
But you look real quick. The word Negro just means black, right? Everybody that's a Negro that can grow a beard that's black don't come from the same nation, do they?
Everybody that's a Negro that can grow a beard that's black, yes, they all come from Israel.
What about black Arabs?
They're not Israel.
But they could be considered Negro because the word Negro just means black.
Why you say consider?
Look up Negro Arabs.
You never hear African call themselves a Negro.
But you're using that term though, so we got to use the term together. Like for example, if we look up the word Negro, it goes back to the word nigger. It says the prophets was at Antioch calling each other Negro. We could look at words parallel to that historical time, like Ethiop or Ethiopic, right? It also means black. That was a blanket term for a whole region of Africa, all north of the Sahara.
Right, but those were actual Africans that come from Ham.
But Jews was called that as well, though.
But we don't come from Ham.
I'm not saying we do. I'm saying that word is blanketed on us. So that you would have to, so that's why I'm asking you if you're using a colloquial term or if you're using the word literally.
I'm using the word Negro for the people who are like us, not just melanin-wise, dark skin. I'm saying people who can grow beards, people who can grow their hair out, because we know most Africans, their hair not up, ball up. Our hair grows out afro. You get what I'm saying? We grow beards, they don't. It's scientifically proven. So we are different than they are. They know that we're different.
What about Ethiopians? What about Ethiopians? Are they Africans?
Well, I'm not sure about Ethiopians.
Ethiopians come from Kush, right?
Okay, so if Ethiopians come from Kush, then they Africans too.
So they Ham though, right? Kush come from Ham.
Right, so that mean they Africans too.
But they grow beards.
Well, that's their own little thing.
And they grow their hair out. You know what I'm saying? We can't just say things like that is what I'm saying. So we got to be more careful with that.
But we can't say we Kush though.
We can't say we Kush. We are not Kush.
So even if they grow beards or whatever, so like you say, we know how to distinguish that because we know that we're not Kush.
But you just said that you're disqualified from being a Negro if you're an African, and the way that you can tell somebody's an African is if they cannot grow their beard out and cannot grow their hair out.
Right.
But Kush are in Africa, and they are Hamites, right? Because you equated Africans with Hamites.
Right.
But we have established now, based on the Ethiopians, that Hamites can grow facial hair out.
The only group you said, the Kushites.
Yeah, not even that as an only group. Somalians, they grow their hair out. There's all kind of Africans that grow their hair out. I'm just using them as a small group because if you say no Hamites can grow their hair out, and we find a group of Hamites that can, that automatically disqualifies the argument.
Okay. So as far as you believe that Negroes come from Africa?
I believe that Negro is just a term that means black. So, and I believe that the whole world was black at one point.
Okay,
so that's where we could start.
Israelites.
Yeah.
So you believe Israelites come from the Middle East?
From the Middle East, yeah. It's like if you even look at the word Hebrew, it is considered an Afro-Asiatic language. You've ever heard of that term?
Yeah.
Afro-Asiatic implies that it's half Asia, half Africa. So it's in that little marginal area now called the Middle East. So the language originates there, and it's called the language of Canaan, right? But I can also look up artifacts that show us over there. The Assyrians, for example, they conquered Israel, right? And they took the Israelites, the 10 tribes, away captive. And then they invaded our area, the Jews area, right? And so what they call that is the siege of Lachish. You can even look up those artifacts and you find people that got BDBs just like I would have BDBs.
Right.
That got the facial hair, but they'll even describe where they went and got them at. And that's in the area over there in the Middle East. So I don't have any reason to think that we did not come from this area. I got more of a reason to believe that we came from there. Plus prophecy.
I can't understand that, just logically, because if we know that we were supposed to be brought over here on slave ships, supposedly, do the research and see the slave ships that actually came over here. See, I've done that to see that there were no slave ships that came over here.
Okay.
There are guys that I follow on the internet as far as Dan Calloway, Karimio. They didn't expose all of that as far as us being from here in comparison over there. So when you look at just logically thinking how many Negroes are in America in comparison to in the Middle East, go do the numbers. And you'll see that for all of us to be enslaved and killed and maimed all this shit for all of these years, and we still have the number of Negroes here in America, it makes no sense.
Unless we're the Israelites and this is the land of the North. But it can't be the land of the North and the land of Israel. Now, you said the slave ships.
Okay, say that one more time?
I said this cannot be the land of the North and Israel because in order to receive our salvation, prophecy says that we will be led out of the land of the North into Israel. It says that the entire land of the North is going to be destroyed. Okay. But there was an area of your argument that I wanted to look at. You said the slave ships. I think that's an important argument. Did they used to import goods here on ships? Like, say, for example, for trade? Like, did they bring gold over here? Did they bring spices over here?
Yeah.
Where are those ships at?
Well, those ships were actually, like, to say with that was from South America. See, we have to understand that within the water of the ocean, there's only certain areas that you can go in because you'll get lost if you go to sea in certain areas. So in certain areas that you have to go around this way, go around this way. So if you're coming from Africa, you can't go to North America. It's impossible.
Okay. So
you'll have to go to South America from Africa.
So the goods was brought to South America, and then it was brought up here by different mechanisms on land, maybe.
The ones from Africa. Now, it had some goods that was brought from Europe that was brought to the Americas because you can take that path, but you can't take a path from Africa to North America.
But where are those ships at, is what I'm asking. The ships that you can confirm did import goods.
Right.
Like what you're saying is that...
Well, they're not ships. They're not even ships. They're boats because back then they didn't have ships. See, that's what we don't know.
That's what we're talking about. Boats and ships, those words are, they coexist. They're the same word as far as I'm concerned.
In a sense, but when you're talking about hauling hundreds or thousands of people on a boat, we know that's impossible.
No, it's not.
On the boat?
Now, I'm asking you about the goods, though. I'm asking you about them goods. Where are them boats at that brought the goods?
Well, I mean, a lot of them sunk now, or, whatever. I've actually seen, documentation where they show how they, the trees that they use, the big trees that they use, the sequoia trees and stuff like that they use for make the boats or canoes, whatever you want to call it. And it would be like one single tree that's used. So they ain't start making, even real ships, cargo ships till like 1800 something.
So the cargo ships that we think existed didn't actually bring goods here. They used canoes to traverse the ocean.
Not quite canoes, bigger boats, but they weren't ships. Not even close to a ship.
All right, I would disagree with that, brother. And then people say,
so you think they had ships in the 1700s?
Real quick, yeah. I do for sure. They had, like, for example, the Spaniards had fleets. You ever heard of those treasure hunts that take place in the Caribbean? What are they looking for? Gold, right? And that's Spanish gold most of the time. Where did the Spanish get that gold from?
Where did they get it? I mean, they came over here to get a lot of it gold from Europe.
And that's
out from Africa.
And that's in the 1400s. And guess what those boats that sunk from all the gold? Because they took so much gold that they would sink. Those were cargo ships. Of the day.
So when you say ships, a lot of times people think like, the big massive ships like that.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Because if you look at them shipwrecks, they are big, massive ships. And that's where them treasure hunts even are able to exist at. They would take so much gold that would cause their ships to sink. Right? And then you can look at the proof of them today. So if we're looking at the 1400s where they started coming over here, conquistadors by the thousands and killing millions of people, they're not able to do that with just a couple hundred guys.
Who were they killing?
They were killing the natives.
Who were the natives?
What are you talking about?
What did they look like?
Maya, Azteca,
What did they look
all
like?
shades of brown.
Were they Negroid? Or were they?
I'm not gonna submit to that word because that word is very pseudo. Now, if you say Negroid, that's not even the same word as Negro. Negroid, that's something that was developed in Germany and it was coined there, and it was coined by some pseudo scientists. If you look at the term Negroid, you can take away all the skin color features that they say a Negro would have and just use the facial structure. Somebody could be pale and still be Negroid by description. So we're going to have a back and forth that's never going to land anywhere. A Negro, were they dark skinned? I would say, yeah, some of them were. And some of them were my color. It's various shades of brown is what I'll say.
What I'm saying, before they came here, the conquistadors, it was people like us that was here.
Yeah.
We were here.
All of us, yeah.
Yeah, not all of us, no.
Yeah, I'm talking about all of us that's right here in this circle right here, you would have found us.
So when they got here, we were already here.
I'm not taking that as we were, because we're Jews. The Jews weren't here. The 10 tribes was here. All shades of brown.
Okay, well, that's still family.
Yeah, exactly.
It's still family. You get what I'm saying? So that's why I say we in so many words. I understand what you're saying about the 10 and then the 2 separate. I got you there.
But I wouldn't. The reason why I'm very careful about that because I won't take away from what happened to the so-called natives. The so-called natives that was here, though they may have been the same color skin or even lighter, I'm not going to take away from what happened to them because it takes away from the overall prophecy.
So what I'm saying is the natives that I think you're considering are these Mexican-looking people with the long hair. What I'm saying is they weren't here. What I'm saying is we were here.
They were not here.
When Christopher Columbus got here and touched down on the land, I done read his actual transcript that he sent back to the king.
What he said?
He said that it was people who were swarthy skin over here.
Yeah.
Swarthy is the word he used.
Dark skin, yeah.
Dark skin, right? So it wasn't no light skin, wasn't no high yellow, with none of that. It was dark skin Negroes that was here.
Yeah,
they had afros.
They would call them Negro.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's what I'm saying. So for the say the concept that we come from the Middle East and it's only so many there, and when they got over here in the 1400s, we was already here.
Who were we worshiping over here when Christopher Columbus got here?
We worshiping all kind of stuff. Kind of gods.
What about Quetzalcoatl or Kukulkan?
Kukulkan, yeah.
Right. What? So when you look at his counterpart, that was a man crucified on an X. He was dark skinned. Right? You would agree? Right. But the people that were worshiping him, they weren't. They were like my color.
Why you say that?
Because it's in the picture of it. It's in the whole picture of it. So it shows a mixture of us. It shows a mixture of us all the way from my shade to your shade.
Right.
Right? Kukulkan, he was more close to your shade. But the people that was worshiping him, there was mixed colors. My color, his color, your color.
But as far as a race, they were.
Race just means common ancestors.
I understand it, but try to understand what I'm saying as far as the difference as far as different people. Don't try to complicate it. Just try to understand what I'm saying as far as white people, Negroes, Africans, Mexicans. You get what I'm saying?
Nah.
No, you don't.
Nah. Because it's dark-skinned Mexicans.
Right, but we understand the concept of what. That's what I.
Because you use the word race. Race don't mean color. Race means common ancestor.
Right.
So me and my brothers, if you line us up, I'm the lightest one out of all me and my brothers. Same mom, same dad.
I understand what you're saying.
Well, now we get into colorism. Colorism is far from the concept of race because genetics tells you that a dark-skinned man can have a white twin baby and a dark-skinned twin baby. Right. So we can't deviate from that.
Not to make it confusing, what verbiage would you use?
I would use race, but I would say that race doesn't imply that the people that's light-skinned here today aren't the original people back then because those people was dark-skinned. Because I can see historically that they were dark-skinned and light-skinned.
Those are different races of people.
I would say that. I would not say that's true. I would not say that's true. Not by and large, because they even have their own oral tradition about where they came from. You ever heard of Chief Joseph?
They came from Asia.
Yeah, so did we. Remember, Hebrew is an Afro-Asiatic language.
Right.
So you ever heard of Chief Joseph?
No.
Chief Joseph had what was called the Assyrian star.
Okay.
Where did he get the Assyrian star from? I would eloquently put it as Assyria. But we know Assyria is all the way over there across the waters. And he said it was passed down to my ancestors years and years ago.
Well, I heard the Assyrian star actually come from Sirius, where it was given down from another entity. That's some whole other stuff.
But we got an oral tradition. I'm saying from the mouth of the people. So who we gonna believe? We gonna believe the mouth of the people, or are we gonna believe something else? What somebody said about the people? Because we could take, they came from Asia. but then so do we. So what does that give or take away from their argument as to who they are? It gives more credibility if we can prove that they're from Asia, because we can prove that we're from Asia.
I'm trying to prove that we're from here.
Yeah, but that it don't stack up though. It don't stack up because let's go back to Luke 21:24 again real quick. We're gonna circle back because it is very physical, and then all of a sudden it's supposed to be something that could be taking place in the mind. It just don't work. I want you to actually start up a little bit at like 22.
For these be the days of vengeance, that all these things which were written may be fulfilled.
There's a prophecy in Daniel, the 9th chapter, and the prophecy in Daniel, the 9th chapter, is very important because it's prophesying the Romans coming and destroying our temple. And that's recorded history as far as Titus, Vespasian, and the troops that followed him. It's recorded history that they took menorahs out of our temple and that they completely desolated our land that's over here today. Not that it was over here.
It says, but woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days, that they shall be great in distress in the land, and the wrath, shall be great distress in the land and wrath upon this people. They shall be they shall fall away by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations.
Killed in great numbers, and then led away captive into all nations. A black man, when he was put in the cargo slave ships, he wasn't killed in great numbers first. He was wrangled up, and then he died being jettisoned off of ships. We was being thrown off of boats and dying on the way here, and then being killed in great numbers over here. Here the reverse is saying. What does history say?
History says that we were being shipped from over here to over there. We were being shipped from the Caribbean to North America. We were being shipped from North America from the East Coast, like from New York to Florida and to Louisiana. We was being shipped from Louisiana to Jamaica.
You talking about the natives?
Yes, so what I'm saying is when the white people came over here, they started moving us around just on this side for like, and they did bring us to Europe and all those places too, but for the most part, we were just being moved around here.
So let me do this then. You're saying that you come from the natives. I'm not gonna take away from that. You might have
natives. I can't say the word native because native is their word. They coin their word.
Native of here, right?
No,
what do you want to call it?
A Native American is a person who paid $5 to become
What do you want to call it? So we can.
We would say
indigenous
American Indian or an indigenous.
An
indigenous American.
You saying your forefathers are indigenous
to this land?
I'm not gonna take away from that, but we cannot say what happened in West Africa did not happen. How do I know that? Because my DNA goes back to Nigeria, Cameroon, all that. So that's over there in Africa. Now, have you ever heard about the gate of no return?
You say your DNA.
Yeah.
Now you know the person who started the DNA testing actually came out and said that all is bull, right?
No, you can't say that it's all bullshit, but what you can't do is track your lineage back thousands of years, because then you got to disregard migrational patterns. So what you would be best suited to do is track your DNA, look a couple 100 years back, but then you got to consider migrational patterns.
We don't make the choice on how far back they go. They do that.
I mean, but it tells you how accurate it can be. And this is why it tells you where
Lewis Gates is? You know who Henry Louis Gates is?
Who is he?
That's one of the guys who started Ancestry.com. He came out and said that it's all bullshit.
What is?
All of it.
All DNA is bullshit?
All Ancestry. All that's bullshit.
How come you can use it in court?
You can do a lot of stuff in court that's bullshit. Court is bullshit, really.
But you can prove a man's DNA. You can prove who is your child with a swab on the cheek. So at some point it has to stop being BS. And at some point it has to start being BS. I'm saying I'm taking more of a balanced approach on it. And what I can trace is that on the west coast of Africa, that's where my ancestors come from.
I'm not sure that that's accurate as far as them tracing it. That's what I'm saying. Wherever you went to get that trace, I'm not sure that's accurate.
I'll agree to disagree. Have you ever heard about the door of no return? The gate of no return?
Yeah.
Okay, who is being shipped out of the gate of no return?
It was the Israelites.
The Israelites. Black men off the west coast of Africa. And then they had a fort there. They had a fort there called Fort Judah. You ever heard of Fort Judah?
Yeah.
So Fort Judah, that's a Portuguese fort that they built and they would call it Wada or Wida. I don't know how to say it in their language, but it's called Fort Judah. Why? Because there was a tribe of Judah set up there right there called the Kingdom of Judah, right there on the border of Bogo and Benin. Benin and Togo?
And they also had the island that was right off the coast of that too.
Yeah, that's
so what I
Judah.
found out about that was what they were doing was, I went and researched that. So I found out what they were doing was bringing South American dark-skinned people like us to that area, and they ended up using that for a neutral spot to house slaves that were potential to be moved around. So what happened was the Negro people who were in the middle, in the Caribbean and in South America, they were shipped to that island, and
they were shipped to Fort Judah.
To the island.
Because there's an island called Fort Judah that's right there.
No, it's another one.
Where they would put the people from the Kingdom of Judah.
So a lot of those people end up just getting transferred to. That was in the 1500s. What I'm talking about when that happened. Late 15, early 1600s.
Okay.
And they end up moving a lot of those people to North America, to up north like Michigan, Maine, Boston, that area.
So they would. Cape Verde.
Cape Verde. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Cape Verde. Yeah, so all of those people, Cape Verde, they think that they Africans. They literally think they're Africans because they've been there for a couple hundred years. But they don't know that they were transported there hundreds of years ago prior to that. And they are actually Negro, American Indians, whatever you want to call it. But they don't know that because they ain't do the history to find out where they actually come from. So a lot of those people think that they're African, but they're not African. They're actually from North or South America. They were shipped there in the 1600s.
What about Ashanti?
I heard the name, I don't know what you mean.
So the Ashanti, they come from the people of Ashan. That's another Hebrew name.
Okay.
Those are priests. That's a priestly name.
Right.
But the Ashantis over there on the west coast of Africa too, they got an oral tradition, and they got a good family history saying that they come from above Egypt. So we're gonna say that they don't know their history?
Well, they wouldn't say that they come from above Egypt. If they was that historical, they'd be saying another name. They wouldn't say Egypt.
That they do say above Egypt because the name Egypt comes from the Greek tongue. So by the time they're talking to historians of their time, of this common time, they're gonna have that word, they're gonna have that term readily available, so like that.
Okay.
But what about them? Are we gonna say that their oral tradition is messed up?
It's possible.
Because they said 78, they talk about the time where they was chased out of their land, all of that.
Right.
They even had a mercy seat over there. They even wore the 12 stones on their chest. You know, they kept the Hebrew customs.
So that's what I'm telling you, like, prior to the 1500s, the Negroes from here were traveling over there. We taught them in Middle America, in Mesoamerica, I mean not Mesoamerica, in the Middle East, as far as the tradition that we have, because the language of Hebrew was actually here. You can go right now and look, they finding
the Back Creek Stone, the Lost Lunar Stone.
Years old, that's in Grand Canyon. They have ancient, Hebrew that's older than Hebrew language that's over there. They're finding this stuff here.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
I would say more so that Hebrews was coming here. Like, for example, you had the fleets that came from the Zidonians. Those people spoke Hebrew.
Right.
Especially when you deal with the Lashawam Kadash or the Paleo Hebrew, because that's a Canaanitic language. That new Hebrew that we see today started to develop in Assyria. So we see that real old Hebrew here. We see the Lost Lunar Stone, which is called the Decalogue Stone. That got the 10 Commandments on it.
Right.
We know that's an Israelite artifact. Right. But we know also that Zidonians were over here because that was their thing, was trade. Now they were a black people, but those were Hamites.
Right.
I'm not gonna say that they were us just because they were Negro.
Yeah. Now I truly believe that Africans and Negroes being, like, I consider North America, South America Negro land. That's why I say Negro. But I believe that the Africans and Negroes being transparent, being doing business together for who knows how long. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about, I can trace all the way back to like the 1200s.
Even longer than that.
Massa Musa, his name was? Massa Musa supposedly from Africa and came over to South America and, and brought a bunch of people with him.
I've heard that.
And Negros was already here. That's what I found in the documentation, that he ran into Negros because people look just like him. You know what I'm saying? He didn't run into Indian-looking people with the Mexican hair and all that. Man, but look, I'm keeping my family here forever, man. But look, I can sit and talk to y'all all day, man. I appreciate the dialect, man.
Hit the info up, man, because we didn't even really get into the meat. There's a prophecy said that 7 vials are going to be poured out on this place. And that at the end of the 7 vials, this place is going to be destroyed. And what they're describing is thermonuclear destruction. So it don't matter what side of the Mississippi you're on if that thermal bomb drops, because there's something called nuclear winter that takes place. Right? When that happens, ain't nobody going to be able to inhabit America. Disqualifying America as Israel. Right? We're going to be taken up out of here, and we're going to be brought back where they're finding artifacts that would prove that we was over there. We're going to be brought back to that land where our forefathers used to exist. This place is about to be toast. The white man done polluted it to high hill.
Another lacking, all black, don't draw attention, cause it's just not enough room in this small city. Cleaning crew is out to get you, can you dodge 50? 50-50 odds, hear the applause in the black. Ripping through the avenues in the parks full of guys chilling at the bar cause mama boyfriend Ron tripping. Ripping through their hearts with what he doing after dark, and mama working late and she don't know cause they don't have the heart. It's safe to say in them shoes, they dark in them. Swim the shore before the whales and the sharks get them. So many bodies in the waters, you ain't gotta swim them. You on the shoulders of the fallen, trying to outlive them.